There's 50 million people with diabetes, 100 million with pre-diabetes just in the U.S. About 9 months ago, I was approached by these folks who were doctors and scientists. They were friends in college and, stayed friends, but they were overweight. They wanted to lose weight. Their preferred mechanism was through fasting and through ketosis. And they wanted to snack via keto. So they tried all these keto snacks in the market. And being doctors, they would blood test themselves immediately after they tried. And every time, every so-called, keto snack would spike their blood sugar and blood glucose every time. This is not working. We need to make our own snacks. So they did, and eventually lost over 100 pounds each. And about 9 months ago, they're like, look, we want to put this in the market, take this to the masses.
It still hits, I don't miss. I just go, like a go flow. And I'm almost done, and I told you so. When I throw these flows, like it's Rochambeau. And I ain't too close to the Joe Smo goes. And I'm on my grind, that is all the time. I do not do breaks, that's right, I stay in dry. And look, I'm back with a little bit of that, and a little more cash than it came in with. Ready, that cat is out that bad, but I still ask you, the boy got skills. I don't need her, I don't need him, I don't need help with me, I got this. I can sing songs, I can spit raps, and I can do both, even do this, word.
Josh Sizemore, welcome to the On the Stacks podcast.
Thanks, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man, this is it's been a long time coming. We've you and I have been connected for some time. We gotta give a shout to right off the bat. I feel like if he doesn't hear his name like within the first 30 seconds, he'll probably tune out. So shout out to our boy Jimmy T. Martin for connecting us a while back. And like I said, you and I have been sort of talking entrepreneurship stuff here and there for, I don't know, man. I feel like it's been a couple years, maybe more. I don't know, but I'm glad we finally got the chance to connect here.
Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy. I know you need a shout out. No, Jimmy's a good dude, man. We connected. I don't know, probably 10 years ago, maybe a little less, a little more, back in New York through a mutual friend. One of his best friends, one of my really good friends at the time, and during that time, he started his company, and I saw it grow and flourish. And then I think the pandemic hit, and it was just like many things. I think it struggled to survive. When you have a gym and you have a kind of a family and community of people that your business is based on, and then something like the pandemic hits, it's hard to keep it going, man.
But yeah, so yeah, you're in the fitness community, and I know, like I said, Jimmy shared the story, kind of how you guys connected, and how you were a loyal guy at his spot in New York City. So, but yeah, man. So I know you've bounced around a bit now. You're I know, obviously you got I'm sure people can probably hear a little bit in your voice of your accent, but I know because you're not from New York, but you bounce around, and now you're East Coast, West Coast, and now you're back to the hometown of Kentucky, right?
Yeah. So I'm originally from a small town called Hyden, Kentucky, probably like 900 people, and it's crazy.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy because I don't know if you follow football, but Tim Couch, he was the first pick for the Browns. I don't know what year, but he was about 3 years older than me. He made it out, and then I made it out, but most people don't make it out. So it's interesting, that to see where you come from, and kind of look back and see kind of where you are now. Like, how did I end up here? Like, what made me do this or take that turn but I remember when I was like 7 or 8, because I can't remember before I was 7, because I got electrocuted, and my whole memory is like gone.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You got electrocuted?
So, funny story. My mom, so those old stoves that had those burners that you pulled out, those electric stoves. So I guess my mom was cleaning them, and she had them pulled out of the stove, and I think I was like 6 or 7. And for some reason I was like, Mom, can I put this and put this, and I had like a knife or a fork. Can I put this in here? And she wasn't paying attention. I guess she said yes. And so I stuck it into the burner thing, and I literally flew back like 20 feet. And
really?
That's what she said. I don't remember. But I can't remember like before that, which is
wow.
fucking wild. Yeah.
That is wild. Yeah, I feel like that. You know what? That's really only like one of these things you hear. It's like I feel like it's these stories are almost like, now that I know somebody that this happened to, which is, this is crazy. I don't think I know anyone else that's ever been electrocuted like to this degree, or really ever, or really other than like maybe somebody just changing a light bulb, you get a little shock. I think we've all had that, right? But like to this degree of you sticking like a fork, it's like sticking the fork in the socket type story. It's like I feel like you hear that as a kid. I mean, obviously you lived it, even though it wasn't a socket, but very similar, right? But like you hear, I just for my entire life up until this point, you hear like someone say like, oh yeah, don't stick the fork in the socket. It's like nobody actually does that, right?
Yeah.
But here we are. Josh is living proof.
I did it.
Of wow. So what happened like right after? So like you flew across the room, like, and obviously you don't remember, but like,
I don't remember.
What's your mom tell you?
Yeah, my mom said she freaked out and like I was okay. Like right away, I was
Really?
good. Yeah, she said I was like fine, and
but it wiped out your memory.
I don't remember before that. No.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't have no memory of my 6-year-old before, 7-year-old before.
Wild.
I also remember when I was 8 or 9, always telling my folks that I wanted to move to California because I knew California was sunny and I hated the rain and snow. I just always wanted it to be warm and sunny. And that's from the time I was a little kid.
What's the weather like in Kentucky? It
gets all seasons. When it's summer, it gets hot as hell and humid. And in the winter, it's funny because when you see it in actuality, you realize that I guess climate change or climate something is real, because when I was a little kid, every winter it snowed 2, 3, 4 foot. And it's probably not snowed 4 or 5 inches in the last 7 or 8 years. Yeah,
Kentucky. I mean, I could say the same kind of similar around here. I mean,
yeah,
in our area here, and I know like we're in Pennsylvania, which we're only a couple hour drive from New York City. But yeah, I'd say it's similar here too. I mean, in terms of like I think I can relate in the same sense of, I feel like when I was a kid, we used to get a lot more snow, a lot more bigger storms. And now it's like, now we're lucky if we get like one big one every couple years.
But yeah, Kentucky's, there's not a lot there. Like there's 2 really bigger cities with Lexington and Louisville. We moved, we now live in Louisville. We, sold our house in Vegas, 7, 8 months ago. And my wife, she wanted to get back close to family. She's got a lot of nieces and nephews that she enjoys. So we'll probably stay in Kentucky 6, 7 months of the year and hopefully find somewhere else to post up the other times.
Yeah, so so you had that California dream, which I know you got the pizza place, what, 314?
Yeah.
Is that how you say? Do you call it 314?
We do. Yeah, 314.
Okay.
And it's kind of a play on words. 3.14 is the pie, right? So
yeah, I was, it's funny. I was looking it up beforehand. I mean, because I first thing I thought of, to be honest, was the area code. So I think it's the area code's Missouri. So I was like, all right, who's from Missouri? That's what I was going to ask.
Most people assume it's the area code, but a few people have got the pie.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense too.
So it's good. Yeah, we opened about 14 months ago officially, and it took us 2.5 years to get it open. We found an old spot right at the end of the pandemic. It's like a 30-year-old restaurant, and it was just run down. And they closed up, and we went in and kind of basically tore everything down and built it back up. And through permitting and California's bullshit rules and regulations, it was hard to get it open, but we finally did. And my partner Brandon, he's there every day, just busting his ass, just killing it. And we're we're over that year hump, so hopefully it'll just continue to grow and grow. But the community is, they love it. It's awesome. I love them. The food's amazing.
Yeah, it looks killer. I mean, obviously, I've never been there, of course, but yeah, just from seeing the photos on Instagram, it's funny. Actually, I saw it today. Coincidentally, it popped up. It's made me, obviously, reminded me too. I was like, oh man, like, because I think again, I don't know what your experience has been like with pizza in your hometown, Kentucky, but I'll say here in our area in Pennsylvania, and I'm sure as you've experienced in New York City, killer pizza, right? Killer pizza in New York City, and same here in Pennsylvania where we're at. Although New Yorkers will bash us and say that we don't have good pizza.
Yeah.
I'll at least say like New York has good pizza. I'm not really gonna say like ours is 1,000 times better, but I'd say it's it definitely rivals it for sure, right? Even though they won't agree. But anyway, I'm curious because the reason I'm saying this is because I feel like, I don't know, and there's not many places I feel like in the country, like state-wise, that has really, really good pizza. And I think California is probably one of those states that I don't think I honestly don't believe that California even has like pizza, except your place. I mean, your place, like I said, the pizza looks killer. I'm sure it tastes as good as it looks. But but like I don't believe that California has good pizza. So you got to convince me here.
It's funny because when me and my wife got married in LA, and we have a tradition that every Friday night we do pizza and wine, no matter where we're at, no matter if we're in LA, Kentucky, Hawaii, Paris, no matter where, right? That's what we do. So we were in LA and getting ready for our wedding, and it was Friday, so we were looking up places to go. And I lived in LA for 15 years, and I never knew about this place. So we was just looking on Yelp and found this hole in the wall spot in Venice, and we went, and that's where I met Mario, the owner. And that's where I tasted his pizza, which was fucking amazing. I was like, this is the best shit I've ever had. It was so good, and he was so hospitable. I had all the guys that were coming to the wedding, I was going to take them to like a fancy steak cut. I think we were going to cut or something, and I changed plans last minute to go back to South End and visit Mario and have our dinner there. And it was one because I wanted all the guys to kind of get that same hospitality and vibe and like just try the pizza, because I had an idea that later I would get to know Mario more, and we would talk. And I was like, one day I was like, hey, you want to partner up and bring your recipes to the Bay Area, because at that time we lived in Tiburon, outside San Francisco. And he's like, yeah, let's figure it out. So we started figuring it out. I met Brandon, who have you been to the Restoration Hardware restaurants ever?
Mm-mm.
They're fucking amazing. And but he was running those, and there was one in Marin, so we frequented that one, and we got to know Brandon. His hospitality was off the charts, and so I kind of put us all together. And from there, we was like, let's find a place, and we did, and it took us 2 years to open, and we finally got open, and and I think, knock on wood, we're gonna open a second location in San Francisco. Brandon and I were just talking about it this week, so hopefully that happens.
Weird timing. Yeah, wow, crazy. That's cool, man. Yeah, like I think like I said, I think I remember when we first met. Obviously we've never met in person, just virtually, but when we first met, it wasn't even open. I remember, I think you tell me about it back then, and then I remember seeing it on on Instagram, and I just I mean, who doesn't like looking at food pictures on Instagram? I mean, that's I feel like it, that's just everybody does it.
To your point of trying to convince you, I don't know if I can convince you, but I've been to I've had probably, and this is probably not going to go for my argument, but I've probably had 5 really great pizzas in California, including LA, San Diego, and San Francisco.
Okay.
Counting ours and counting Mario's. So that takes those 3 other spots.
Okay. I trust your opinion, though.
But I mean, I've had, 20 amazing spots in New York, and I've never had. I've never been to Pennsylvania and had pizza, I don't think, in Philly. So yeah, I've heard it was great, but and there's actually 2 good spots in Louisville. One is called Weeded, which there's a spot in New York, and Portnoy did their spot in New York. I think they got like an 8.4, 8.5, big score, and it's good. It's a good spot in Louisville. And then there's another spot that we go to, has really good pie as well. So you can find them, but it's hard to find. It's hard to find really good pizza, especially if you're particular. Like my style is like kind of mixture between Brooklyn and Rome. Like I love that style, like Lucali, fucking amazing. Love that shit. Yeah, and our spot, obviously, our pizza is like that. So
yeah, well, that's cool, man. Congrats on that. So
thank you.
Yeah, and obviously, like again, just from following you over the years, and the bit that I do know about you, I mean, you've had many entrepreneurial ventures, I'll say, like over the years, which I'm impressed by. I know you've had a lot of direct to consumer type products. You mentioned the water company. I know you've had some others that you've built and sold off, that have gotten acquired and everything. So, I love picking the brain of somebody like you and just hearing like your experience of building these companies. I feel like correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you're kind of like one of those entrepreneurs that I feel like you're a little bit, I'll say, like more behind the scenes, where like you figure out how to make all this shit happen, and then it just goes like, and sometimes again, like a lot, like you may not see a lot from you here and there, but then all of a sudden, like, I mean, again, this is a perfect example. I mean, everybody's probably been wondering what the name is on the front of your hat this whole time. So this is, I think this is a good segue, right? You and I haven't connected in a little while, and when we got chatting, whatever it was, a month or two ago, and you're like, hey, man, you said, hey, man, we're just catching up. You're like, hey, I'm launching this new, this new brand, this new company. Obviously, it was a food one, and you said, hey, I want to send you some product, which it should be here any day now. By the way, I'm really looking forward to trying it. But yeah, like I said, it's one of those things where we haven't caught up in a while, and I didn't even like really see anything online until like you said, hey, by the way, we're just launching this thing, and now it's like here, like your website's rocking, and it's like all this stuff, and so yeah, man, like I said, I'm always impressed, by somebody like you who's just able to take an idea and really bring it to life, and also and have multiple like ones like that going on, like again, like you have 3 and 4 out in California that you're not present obviously I'm sure you're involved behind the scenes, but I feel like there's a lot of entrepreneurs and people in general who probably just think it's impossible to say, start and run multiple companies like you do, and say manage and run them from afar virtually. Yeah. But like you've done it, so I'm curious to hear. Like obviously you've done this over the years, for a long time, from what I understand. But nowadays, obviously technology is probably a little bit different than maybe when you first started doing things. So it's probably a little bit more difficult back then. And maybe in-person stuff was maybe a little bit more necessary, but now with technology and how virtual everything has become over the last several years, I'd say it's probably like really helped you be able to like scale more companies and teams, across the U.S. and who knows, maybe even globally. I'm not even sure if you have any other ventures beyond here, but I'm curious about your experiences. I know this is like a really long-winded. No, I don't even know if it was a question. I don't even know where I was going, but I know like you have a ton of experience in building startups and getting having them acquired. So I just love to hear about some of them.
Yeah, for sure. So to your point of behind the scenes, I think I'm really envious of those folks who build in daylight. Who are starting and building and always posting and talking about, like I'd love to be that person. I'm just so bad at it that I use that time to like do other shit.
But that's why there's a good mix, though. That's why there's a counterpart to you that I'm sure does those other things. So
yeah, so it's it's back in, I think the entrepreneurial stuff comes from, I think my mom and my grandpa on that side. Like they had my grandpa owned like the first telephone line or telephone company or whatever in like small town, and then the TV line or whatever, and sold it or whatever.
Wow.
And then, and my mom, she started like a nurse clothes line back in the day, and done really well with that. She's always been in the medical industry, so I probably get it from that. I think also it comes from just I was in the corporate world for a long time when early on in my career. I was a retail executive. Helped build some big brands, Lacoste, Shinola, and just got burnt out with that corporate rhetoric, bureaucracy, politicky bullshit, and
my last guest literally I just had a very similar conversation in the last episode, like same thing. Yeah.
And because as someone who I think innately wants to see people do well and tries to get them to that level, it's just in that retail environment, not everybody's on that same page, and it's just hard. It's hard to navigate. So I had an opportunity to, jump out of that and jump into consumer goods and beverage, and with Original New York Seltzer, and from there, creating my own water brand with Unify. And we could have been $1 billion brand, but we, went through a bad divorce, unfortunately, and sold early. And from there, just kept spinning my wheels, doing stuff. We created CBD.com that got sold to Snoop Dogg and their company, and then I went on to I tried to create a snack. This was kind of before its time, but the first ever pre and probiotic kind of bar. And we were right there. We just could never find the prebiotic to be shelf stable, and now you can just throw a wall and there's a million of them that's shelf stable,
Yeah.
So that one didn't really go. And then I became president of, kind of took a fucking side turn and became president of 1-800 Got Junk for a few years, which was weird, honestly.
That's great. Yeah, which is weird. I love the way you put that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great business model. Pretty turnkey, but not a lot of innovation, not a lot of go-to-market strategy, not a lot of marketing, not a lot of things you could really do to put your stamp on the brand like that. You just really had to hire great general managers that understood customer experience and let them do what they do, right? So
yeah.
So I got out of that and became CEO of a kind of better for you kombucha company. It was powdered kombucha, and we grew it pretty hefty. And the board ultimately wanted me to move to Wisconsin, and I said I don't want to move to Wisconsin, and so I got out of that. And I'm on the board of a bunch of different pretty prestigious companies and brands, and I was doing that for a while. And then about 9 months ago, I was approached by these folks who were doctors and scientists that they were friends in college and stayed friends, but they were overweight, and they wanted to lose weight, and they started their preferred mechanism was through fasting and through ketosis. And they started, going on this weight loss journey, and they wanted to, snack via keto, right? And so they tried all these keto snacks in the market. And being doctors, they would blood test themselves immediately after they tried. And every time every so-called keto snack would spike their blood sugar and blood glucose every time. And so they're like, well, fuck this. This is not working. We need to make our own snacks. So they did. And they found some ingredients and recipes that worked great. And they utilized those, and they eventually lost over 100 pounds each. And through what they were doing and utilizing the snacks that they were making, they actually got their own clients to come in and start, doing this weight loss stuff. And so they did that for a couple of years. And about 9 months ago, they're like, look, we want to put this in the market, take this to the masses. And they found me, and it really aligned with my ethos, which is health, wellness, fitness, living great, but also it done something else, which it lent itself to a different category also, which was the diabetic category. There's 50 million people with diabetes, 100 million with pre-diabetes just in the US, which is fucking crazy. So, yeah. So these snacks, FeastFast, snacks, they're not only true keto, which it doesn't raise your blood sugar, doesn't raise your blood glucose. I should say, doesn't spike it, like these other keto friendly snacks. It allows people with diabetes to have a snack that they can trust every time, so they don't have to test their insulin every time. They don't have to do that. There's a trusted snack out there that they can have. And we launched this thing. Yeah, I came on like 10 months ago. We launched this thing about a month and a half ago now, 6 weeks ago. And it's rocking and rolling, and we're going to be direct to consumer for the foreseeable future before we do any retail plays or anything. We got some big partnerships coming up. I think we just landed on Stephen Colbert, I think, in the back room, in the green room. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Got a bunch of other stuff that's really cool coming up. But it's a slow grind, man. Like, anything you have to, it takes time. It takes so much time. No matter how much money you have to invest in it, it takes time to figure out what works, how it works, when it works, and then really double down on that and then triple down on that and, and continue to go. But I think we have a big opportunity. We launched with our cookie line first, which is 4 SKUs. Delicious. Centigram is probably the top choice at this point, and chocolate chip cookie. But we have also chocolate donut, which we're changing to chocolate brownie, and then we have peanut butter. And we just enhanced the peanut butter recipe for this next run. So I'm excited for everybody to try that because they're really fucking good. And vegan, all natural, non-GMO, even kosher and gluten-free. So they're, really good stuff. And it's really good for you, especially if you're on that keto fasting kick, and want a good snack to not break you out of that keto. And then if you're a diabetic or pre-diabetic, you have a trusted snack, and a safe snack that you can always eat consistently and not have to really worry about it. So that's one that I'm really focused on. So we're in kind of a dual lane, but I'm really excited about that, the diabetic lane.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, and it was, it probably was right about when you launched. I think that we reconnected, and like I said, like I was saying before, it was like we hadn't talked in a little while, and then like I said, we kind of caught up a little bit, and all of a sudden it's like you're like I'm launching something new. Here it is, I'm like, I mean, I was not surprised, you know what I mean? It was, and I know that's you, right? But yeah, man, it's really cool. Congrats. It sounds like a great, it sounds great. I love the branding. I'm a big brand guy.
I'm
sure I love the branding. Like I say, I as you know, I obviously haven't tried it yet, but I know you got some on the way here. So
I'm
looking forward to trying them.
I can't wait for your shot.
Yeah. But I want to touch on one of the things that kind of you just said before about, which I think is like a very interesting conversation to have around entrepreneurship and startups and brands, or starting your own, whatever it is, whatever venture it is that anyone's going to do, on their own or partner with somebody, is how you said, like, people, like, it takes time, like, no matter, as you said, no matter how much money you have or no matter how much, whatever it is, like, it just takes time. And I think that's like one of the things that most people don't realize, and or maybe when people get into doing something like this, whether it's a product or a service, or again, any type of starting your own business, is, I think a lot of people underestimate how long it takes and how much effort and how much just everything it takes. And it also, today I coincidentally saw on your story you had Andy Frisella from the Real AF show, and the clip of him talking, it was very similar. I'll say it was kind of similar to this in the sense that he used the word obsession, and like, I mean, it kind of sort of ties in with this, because it's like, if you want to do it, and if you want to really, really do it, like, you got to be totally obsessed. And like, I have the same. I mean, I literally have I made a hoodie with my own brand that says passion crossed off with the word obsession underneath it. Because I'm of the same mindset that, like, hey, like, it's cool if you're passionate about something, and you can maybe do something, good, right, with that. But to Andy's point, and I'm sure, and obviously you obviously agree with this as well. I feel like you wouldn't have shared that, right? Is that, like, you really got to be obsessed, like, with whatever it is, like, whatever it is you're doing. Like, if you're not, like, obsessed with it, like, then it's just, you're just not going to really make it that far, because again, like you said before, like, people don't realize how much time and effort it takes. Like you said, like, forget the money part. Like, it's just the amount of work that has to be done to be able to do anything. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, passion in my experience, and kind of how I see it, is passion breeds obsession, right? Like, if you're passionate about something, then that will kickstart and fire up your obsession, right? And it's like if you're take the highest level of folks, right? NBA, bodybuilding winner, like anything that that becomes exceptional, whether to your point, whether it's a product or a service or a person,
or even if you're an athlete, like same thing, like I'll say like a high level athlete, like again, you're talking before about, football and NFL, like even just same thing, like, let's use Tom Brady, probably one of the most recognizable names, right? Like that guy is absolutely 100% totally, obviously he's not playing anymore, but totally 100% obsessed. And if you're not, you're not going to make it to that level.
Right. You're not going to be Tom Brady. Like,
right.
Yeah, you're not going to be Jordan. You're not going to, you're not going to be the top of the top, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with a brand. There's brands go, they come and go. There's probably, literally there's probably 40 or 50 that come and go every day, every fucking day. And so just think of the ones that go for a year and then 2 years and then 3 years. And they're like, fuck, man, it's not happening. I'm just going to, and that's, if you don't have the mindset of keep going, nothing will matter. Nothing matters. Like you're going to stop and you're going to fail. Like that's the bottom line. But if you have that mindset of, I can just push it a little harder. I can get through this day. I can make it to the next day. Right. And I know if you're first starting out, that's a hard, if you don't have that innate, I don't know if it's
like that killer instinct.
You may not do it. You may not get there, and I understand that. But once you've done it and you've went through it once, fail or succeed, you've got you know
what it takes.
I mean, it's all the lessons that you ever fucking need to do it again and again and again, because you know that around that corner, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be the next day. But it could be that third day or that third week or that second year or whatever the fuck it is, right? And if you have that mindset, you're not. It's like a roller coaster, right? Your entrepreneurship is like ups and downs every second of the day, man. But if your mindset is even, that doesn't affect you.
Right.
And the more you do, the more you start businesses and build businesses and, do this thing, that's a lot easier place to get to that even keeled spot. But if you're initially starting out, like, and I know it's hard to take somebody's advice and word for and do it, right, and put it into practice. But the one thing I would say, and the one piece of advice I would give, is never fucking give up. If you have a good idea and a good product, good service, and it's just not hitting yet, don't give up. It will.
Yeah, 100%. I have a friend, his name is Chris Hacken. Shout out to my friend, Chris, local guy here in our hometown. And he started his own internet company, literally a fiber internet company, like literally started his own fiber internet company here in this area. And we like when he started, again, he started, it was just about around 10 years. The company just got acquired, by the way. That's the point of the story. Nice. And I'll backtrack, right? Yeah. But so, this area here, technology wise, we've always been like a little bit behind the times, or I'll say maybe a little bit more than behind the times. But the fiber didn't really exist, and at least not to the degree that it does today. And I think Chris was really responsible for helping create that infrastructure, and then also challenging the other competitors in the area to build that infrastructure, alongside him as well. Obviously, because like they didn't want to spend the money because you don't really need. I feel like you don't really need to know much about internet and running lines like that. It's ridiculously expensive. Like it's almost near impossible, basically, to build a company like that nowadays. Because how could you compete with the Comcasts of the world and from scratch, from zero, right? And Chris did it from literally from zero. Like the guy just had a couple $1,000, had maxed out a few credit cards 10 years ago and just slowly built it. He ended up getting some investment at some point, which obviously is what also helped enable him to obviously with the huge burden and the cost of the infrastructure to build it out. But again, just case in point, like he literally he just announced this I don't know, a few days ago awesome. that they sold the company. But it's just again, it's one of those stories where you look at somebody like him and he did it for 10 years, right? And I'll say up until the last couple of years, not that he didn't look successful, or not that it wasn't successful, but up until the last few years, again, like when, they have like over 60 employees now, like huge. I mean, like obviously at one point it was clearly just him, and, slowly built it. And then all of a sudden, like I'll say towards the back half of the 10 years, they really blew up, and they just took over this area. And then obviously they expanded so much and grew so much, towards the back half of the 10 years, that now obviously they got acquired.
Yeah.
But again, it's to your point, is like, are you willing, you or somebody willing to really go, like, stick it out that long? Like at any point he could just quit and give up and say, like, screw this, like this isn't even worth it. Like this is like is there ever gonna be a payoff, right? Like I feel like that's what, again, any entrepreneur, like obviously we're not, not that money's the be all end all, but of course we obviously are also doing it for money. Everybody needs to get paid, right? But again, like a lot of in entrepreneurship journeys, I'm sure Josh, you can relate to this as well. Like there's times like where we just don't get paid, and it's like, when are we gonna get paid? And like you make so many sacrifices. And I think people like don't realize that, and again, like, like my friend Chris, same thing, like that. I've never seen a guy work as hard as this guy has. Like I feel like the guy like worked like 24/7 for 10 years. Like I'm not even joking. Like I've just always seen him working on this, literally, like no matter what time of day. Like I was just building this freaking internet company. Like it's crazy. And I think, and I guess this maybe just goes more to like to the average person. Like they don't realize that the guy built his own fucking internet company. Yeah. Like who else do you know built a fucking internet company and then sold it? Like it's just like and nowadays, like it just doesn't happen. Like there's just you don't just start an internet, fiber internet company by yourself, and then have it acquired after 10 years. Like, I mean, like a major acquisition,
That's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, I don't know obviously the exact details, but I know it was a major acquisition. And and, people like don't realize like how much freaking work and sacrifice like he had to go through to be able to do that. And again, just back to the whole obsession thing. As we're saying, and like, not giving up and just sticking it out, like, because if you don't have that mentality, like you just ain't gonna make it.
No, you have to be, you have to be so good they can't ignore you, right? Like, and you can't get that way unless you work 24/7 on something. And
for almost next to nothing, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying it can't happen in a year or 2 years or 3 years. Like, I'm not saying that. I've seen it, but. Right. If it doesn't, that doesn't mean it's not working. You got to keep going. You got to keep going.
Like it might take 10 years. It might take 15, and if that's, and if you believe in it that much, like you just stick it out. You know what I mean? Like you said, like, could something blow up and go bananas in a couple years? For sure. You know what I mean? But again, like, sometimes it could take 10 years. It could take 12, 15 years. Yeah. But anyway, back to your new venture with the cookie here. So I'm curious, like, obviously you guys just launched, like, and I know, like, obviously one of your what you specialize in is what you said, was it direct to consumer or go to market, right? Go to market is the language that you used before. And this obviously is exactly what that is. So like I'm just curious, and for you to maybe drop some knowledge on that. Anyone that's listening, I feel like this episode would probably be good for people that maybe looking to do something similar outside. Not necessarily your exact product, but just a product that is a product that you're selling direct to consumer. Because I know you've really done this many times successfully. So I'm sure there's a lot that you could speak on with it.
Yeah, I mean, figuring out. You go to market, it can be difficult. Like for example, if you have a beverage, right, and your beverage maybe is an 8-ounce can or a 6-ounce can, and you sell packages, like it's hard to. And point is, it's hard to build a beverage business direct to consumer. You almost have to go to retail. You almost have to go to hospitality. Have to go to food service, right? Unless you're partnered with FedEx or UPS or Amazon directly, they're an investor, then you're good, right?
Yeah, because you get killed on the shipping.
Because it's so heavy, you're going to lose money on every order, right? To digress, but I have a beverage brand called Easy Soda, and we did that. We launched on Amazon. It's all natural ginger beer. It's fucking amazing. And we launched on Amazon, sold out 26 times, and we lost like $100,000.
Oh my God! What?
And we was like, let's pause this for a few, and we haven't kicked it back in, but we know we have something. It's just we didn't really have time to like because when you go into retail, this is another reason why, if you have a product that's lightweight, easy shippable, people can, understand. And it's a multitude of things, right? The messaging, the marketing, when you're on the shelf, your packaging has to tell the customer what the fuck it is in 5 seconds. In the digital world, direct to consumer, you can run ads and you have about 10 to 15 seconds to have that attention, rather than just passing it up on the shelf and you not knowing what it is, right? So that's an advantage. If it's easy, like I said, if it's lightweight, easy shipped, you're going to have much better margins for your product. You're going to be able to get to profitability quicker. There's a multitude of reasons to not jump into retail. The biggest one being, I need to be there, or somebody representing the brand needs to be there for the first 6-7 months in that retail location every other day. So you're talking, so much money and manpower to get to all those locations, right? And it just really can't happen. The best example I have, and I'm not hating on Wahlberg, I love him, but him, Puff Daddy at the time had, and they were backed by, one of the richest people in the world, and they had a water brand. And I bet you don't know the water brand.
I don't know.
Exactly. It was two of the biggest stars in the world, backed by a billionaire, and you don't even know the water brand. Is my point, right?
I feel like you should know, right? Just based on just those facts.
Yeah, so they didn't have good branding. They didn't have good go-to-market. They tried to get it into all retail with money, which they did. They hired a ton of people, lost so much money. So it doesn't even matter about the money sometimes, or the backing, or who's involved with it. Like, there's so much that goes into a brand and a product, is in regards to messaging, storytelling. How are you going to market the product? And brand the product, and give your interpretation of how this product, makes you feel, and put that into the masses. Put that into, give that feeling, give that understanding. How do you put that into someone's living room, or how do you put that in someone's mind by just a digital ad, or a marketing campaign? Like, all those things have to make sense, and I feel like a lot of people do it really well, but some people don't. And I think when you're thinking about go to market, you have to think about all these different details, because consumer goods, especially food and beverage, used to be a lot different. Even 10 years ago, it was all about revenue. Nobody cared about profit. Now it's vice versa. You have to be profitable, right? So can you get to profitability? The quickest way possible to get there is probably through direct consumer, making sure you're squeezing every little piece of margin you can out of your packaging suppliers, your manufacturing suppliers, your partners, your shipping partners, and tweaking those every step of the way, right? So there's a lot that goes into it. We have a great guy that helps me with all that, squeezing that margin out component, which is always good, because I'm not I'm not a big spreadsheet guy, but he is, and that's a good thing for us.
You always need the spreadsheet guy, because I'm not a spreadsheet guy either, so I could appreciate that too, man. Yeah, that's definitely one part of I'll say this journey is I don't do spreadsheets. Yeah, you got to have the spreadsheet guy, and and hopefully they're also an arm twister, like you said, that could really squeeze. But yeah, so I think there are two thing again, just I guess just because I'm like a big branding person too. I love a good recognizable brand, and like an unforgettable brand. I think that's like the other big thing. To your point, back how you said like, creating this product in people's minds and how they're going to relate to it, putting it into their house, like, right? Yeah. Like, if you don't have a memorable brand, like, well, I don't even need to say, it's just forgotten about, right? Like, it has to be a great brand, especially like you said, like direct to consumer. I mean, if people aren't going to remember, well, that's you're dead in the water,
Yeah.
So I think again, like the branding part is really a huge component. Like you said, like you got to stay out. There's thousands and thousands of other products. Again, like whether you're on the shelf at a store among 100 other products that are basically the same thing, and I'm sure they all taste pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But if yours doesn't stand out from the rest, like, well, it's, no, it's just gonna pass right by it, right? Digitally or in person.
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to hear other folks like thoughts and stuff about like your branding and like your marketing, etc. But when I was coming up with this kind of the branding, I was thinking about like the Thundercats from the 80s and 90s. You remember that cartoon?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking about for some reason. I was thinking when I was like putting it all together, and but I don't know. It was interesting. I thought the name was different. It kind of connected food, I think, and so I liked it, and we just had to kind of create the brand around it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So what's I mean, obviously, you're still very, very new into this, but like kind of what's like your next phase? I mean, I know like obviously just from seeing some of your other brands and stuff that you've done in the past, obviously I know you build in like influencers and you do a lot of that type of stuff as well, like on social media. And I know you're utilizing TikTok for FeastFast here too. So I'm just curious on your a little bit maybe of your social strategy and obviously TikTok being able to sell products directly on there. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, we've had so it's kind of a three-prong approach. Obviously, website, which is Shopify. We launched TikTok Shop like 4 or 5 days ago, and we had a few good orders, and then it literally went down. So we're trying to get back up and going again. So we're working on that.
Yeah. I think I remember you told me. I think you might have sent me that in a text. Yeah, yeah.
And then we're launching Amazon. I think September 3rd is the go live date. So
cool.
Three-prong approach. Yeah, TikTok's great for especially TikTok Shop. Once you can get it up and running and it, streamlined through all your other assets, which will be amazing for us. And yeah, we have a ton of influencer folks, affiliate folks, starting to push our product, and so we're trying to hit all sides of the sphere, on direct to consumer. And I think once here in a couple months, by the time Amazon launches, we should have everything just kicking, just rolling, and should be good.
That's cool. Yeah. So I think you sent me the cinnamon, right? I think you said is that the best seller so far?
I sent you my favorite, which is the cinnamon here. Yeah.
I think that'll probably be my favorite too. Obviously, without even trying it. But I'm definitely going to be reporting back on the on the product.
They're good. I promise you, they're legit. Yeah.
Yeah. I trust your opinion, your judgment, and your taste, because I've tried other products of yours before.
Yeah.
And you've never steered me wrong. So
yeah. What's cool is we're coming out with 2 other products soon, hopefully this year. But
with the cookie or totally different?
Totally different line. So we're launching a cereal line, which we have a Cinnamon and a chocolate.
Oh, shit.
And the Cinnamon is better than Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm not joking. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And it's the best. I mean, it's definitely the best keto cereal you'll ever eat in your fucking life. It's so good. And then we have crackers also, and they're amazing. Like they're so good. It's just we already have both these products out. Our current manufacturer, we're still working through kind of the process of, can we make these in his facility? Are we going to be able to scale it up? So there's a lot of things that come with that, but I think cereal is going to be next, which should hit in the next few months, and then crackers afterwards. But both are so good.
Yeah, because the cereal industry, obviously targeted mostly at kids, it's just packed with trash.
Yeah. Trash,
like
bro.
just garbage, just absolute like garbage. Like I don't even know how. Like, did you eat cereal as a kid?
I love cereal. I can eat cereal.
Yeah.
I'm a cereal entrepreneur, but cereal.
I see what you did there. I like that. Yeah.
So
yeah, you just 24/7 you eat cereal and build companies.
So I don't eat cereal anymore, but when I drink, sometimes on a Friday or Saturday when I have too much wine, I'll DoorDash a box of fucking Fruity Pebbles.
after the Friday night pizza and wine, right?
Yeah.
So, have a little Fruity Pebbles the next morning.
Yeah.
That'll get you through the through the night of extra pizza and wine. So, but yeah, man. So, what else? I know you're always working on. You're always got other things, man. I'm curious to hear like what else you're cooking. No pun intended, right? Because I feel like the guy like you, there's not many people like you that I feel like you're able to juggle a lot at one time, which I'm always impressed by. And I just I love just hearing of other things. So
yeah, I mean we have something that's coming soon. We're testing it right now, and we're super excited about it. So me and my wife, it's getting into the weeds a little bit, but we had a ton of issues trying to get pregnant, never could. Went through all the things. And then we, found a surrogate and thought it was going to work out. And ultimately, they kind of vanished without a trace. And so
they just took off.
And so that's
at what point?
After they got some money.
Like you guys paid, right? Like
And so from that, I was like, and now we're good with our dogs, and we're okay with that. But for other folks, I wanted to kind of try to create something that where they would never have to go through this, because surrogacy is a big market, and there's a lot of people that need surrogates and out there, and so we wanted to create a platform that connected potential families with intended parents, which would be the surrogate, which is kind of like taking a really intimate platform but putting kind of a matchmaking feel on it so you can connect pretty instantly with someone. And it's the highest vetted platform of surrogates that you could ask for. I mean, we have, our surrogates go through kind of the ringer with the vetting process at the highest level with, third party testing and psychologists, et cetera, et cetera. But it's, we're still in the testing phases, but we've seen some great feedback and results so far, and we're excited to get that launched officially here in the next couple months. So be on the lookout for it.
Did you say the name of it? I don't know if you said. Is it just surrogate?
Yeah, it's just surrogate.com or surrogate.app, which is surroget.com or .app.
Got it. Yeah, it's spelled slightly different, but yeah, man. Well, I'm really sorry to hear you and your wife went through that, man. That's I'm sure it's very difficult. Number one, to talk about in general, let alone talk about, I'll say, publicly and on a platform, like this show, for example. And yeah, man. Obviously, I've never been through anything like that, and I can't even imagine, what, how, you and your wife, were able to work through that, man. I'm glad you guys did. I'm glad, you guys are good. And,
for sure.
But yeah, man, that's, as unfortunate as that situation is, I love to see that you guys are able to take that, that negative, experience as and for as difficult as that is and was, and be able to turn it into something like this, man. Like that's absolutely incredible. I feel like there's not many people, not just from I'll say like a tragic standpoint, that can turn something, but just in general, taking some type of experience that they had, whether it's a tragic one or not, like you said, like in your situation, but taking some type of experience that you had, let's just call it a bad experience of whatever it was, product, service, anything, and being able to really turn it into like a business and something that you're able to, take, all the, all that, anger, frustration, all those emotions and just really build something great out of it. I mean, it's pretty incredible, man. And I give you a lot of credit for that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to help a lot of people, I think. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, alleviate a lot of stress for a lot of people, help them find somebody quickly, somebody that's amazing.
Because again, like I feel like this is one of these processes, right? Again, I don't really know a whole lot about it. Obviously, I've been fortunate. I never obviously had to even learn about it. To be honest, I really don't even know much about it at all. But I just from obviously knowing what it is, like I think anyone would agree with this. It's probably one of the most delicate situations that you have to navigate and be extremely careful and cautious. And it's like the ultimate, man. It's like, cause it's what you're dealing with. I mean, it's life.
Yeah.
And that's not something that you mess with, Yeah.
At first I didn't think there was a major need for it, but as we've done research, like we understood that this is a big need, big market. Wow. And if we can provide this platform for people to make it, I don't want to say quick and easy, but much easier to navigate through, then we've done something really cool.
Yeah, it's Brooke, right? Your wife?
Yeah, Brooke. Yeah, she'll be heading that up. She'll be heading that up. So.
I was just gonna say, she is she really involved with this?
We just shot a video for it. And I'll send it to you. But yeah, she's
cool.
she's really involved, and she's gonna be spearheading it. So I'm excited about that too. Yeah,
that's really cool. Well, pass along my my words to her as well. I mean, that's awesome. It's cool to see, you guys tag team in that. And yeah, man, that's, like I said, as unfortunate and serious as the situation was, it's incredible that you're able just to take something like that and turn it into something as positive as this. I mean, I feel like that's really where a lot of like the biggest or like the greatest, I'll say, products or services or brands are built. And I feel like they're built from, a dark place. I honestly, I feel like a lot of times, and I mean, I could even, speak, from that standpoint as well, not in the surrogate situation, but just in general, being in a bad spot in your life, whatever it is. And I feel like, as shitty as the situation might be that you're in, whatever it is, you might be going through whatever rough patch. I feel like sometimes you're able to like tap in and do some like your best creative work, however that translates to, whomever. Like, I feel like a lot of times you're able to just, because I've done it. Like, I feel like I've been able to do some of my best work, even though at that time, I don't think I realized it. I didn't realize, I think like until like after. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't realize until like sort of like after that, whatever that was that I was working on sort of then came out or launched or like it came to life. And then like I look back on it, I'm like, holy shit, man. Like, whoa. Like I was like, at, like I said, during those times, I was like thinking like, like you're just kind of sort of going through the motions and like, all right, I'm just going to get through whatever it is you're going through. And you're still doing your work, right? Like kind of like you said before, like entrepreneurship's like this, but you got to kind of stay like this, right? And sometimes I feel like I've just been able to do some of my best work in those moments, and then out of it comes like probably some of the greatest things that you might ever create.
For sure, 100%. Just like FeastFast, just like the doctors, they were overweight. They wanted to lose weight, and they created a cookie that doesn't raise or spike insulin, which there's nothing else out there like it. So they created something great for people to utilize, and then turn it into a business. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. Man, because I feel like that's like everyone's like dream, right? I feel like there's a lot of people in the world that, there's probably a lot of people that may just, don't have an entrepreneurial spirit that always like sort of dream these things up. Like they have like these experiences, and everyone, we probably say it all the time, like, oh, I wish I could just start this company, or, hey, I had that shitty whatever product, man, like, oh, it'd be so nice if we could just start our own, or, but, like, I think we all do it to a degree, and we all do it even, on things that we know we'll never start, right? But we, just in general conversation, you might just be like, oh man, like I'd love to just start an XYZ company because, it'd be cool just to have a better product of whatever it is.
Yeah, I think I saw, just to quickly, I think, entrepreneurship, you have something in you, but I think it comes out when you have people around you that you see, just somebody that's either someone or a group of people, because you don't get taught this shit in school. Like if there was entrepreneurial classes in school, that I would have took all of them, and that's what I know I would have been doing. You know what I'm saying?
Me too. Same. Yeah. Because I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not like that. It's somebody you see that's on the business, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's what sparks it, right?
Or the fork in the stove. I mean, that might the electrical shock. That dude, I don't know. Maybe that might be it. I don't know.
That definitely done something.
It did, yeah. It jolted you right into this, this entrepreneurship world, I guess, right?
For sure. It's fun.
But no, man. Yeah, I agree, man. I 100% agree. I feel like again, like I do know. I think there are some schools. I don't know if it's like high school, college, but there's definitely. I know that there are some entrepreneurship type stuff. But my thing about like education, like, and I hate to like knock the system, because I do believe in education, and even higher ed as well. Maybe not all of it, but I do agree, with education. I think it is important. But to your point is that, like, I think it's not taught enough, and I think my biggest gripe with education is that it's never really real world. It's like never really real world experience. Again, like I don't want to, I feel like any educators listening to this is probably gonna be pissed off at me when they hear this. But a lot of times, more so than not, I guess this maybe is more so in higher ed. Like, but a lot of professors like don't really have that real world experience, and they're more so just teaching from I'll say like a research standpoint. And not that the stuff isn't important, because it is, right? That's definitely an important part of say doing business and entrepreneurship is obviously, like you said before, doing the research of surrogate and making sure and seeing if it's even a viable product, industry, or service, right? Like that's clearly a part of it, right? And all the research and strategy that goes behind it. But my point is that I feel like a lot of even if when entrepreneurship and stuff like that can be taught, I feel like it's often not taught from somebody that maybe it should be. And then kind of also to your point, I forget, you might have said it earlier on, is like you kind of have to have, like, some people just may not have that spark.
Right.
But I think it's still important, like, for somebody, if somebody thinks that they're interested in entrepreneurship, like, I think that'd be great for, kids to be able to go into it, let's say, just like learn a little bit about it in school, and then maybe realize it's not for them. You know what I mean? I think that's also the point of it, is like learning what's not for you.
For sure. And I think if there were more classes and emphasis on entrepreneurship early on, there would be way more entrepreneurs.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Way more.
100%. Yeah. Because it's just, again, it's one of those things where, I don't know about you, but I got ADHD to the max over here. And, in school, like I just always just was doing other things. Like I was selling things out of, I was selling candy and snacks out of my locker. I was selling bootleg CDs out of my CDs.
For sure,
I'm really dating myself here, right? Like, but like, again, like, it's just like, I was just interested in not necessarily like making money, but of course, I mean, obviously, making money is part of it, but like, I was just interested in just doing other things. Like, I wasn't interested in most of the things like in school, the only thing like I'll say like I actually kind of sort of enjoyed was like English and writing. I feel like, because that was like one thing I was good at. Not the math and spreadsheets, right? but like I was always, my mind was just always wandering somewhere else, and I was always like just interested in like techie type stuff, and just just doing my own thing, whatever that is. I was just always zoned out to just doing what I wanted to do, and I got in trouble for it. Like that's like the shitty part, is like I feel like it. The school, the system is built to put you in this little box, and people like, of course, you and I, we can't be put in a box.
No, I got out of the box every time I could.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you joining. This was great. Finally having this conversation. I know we've had a couple conversations before, which I've always appreciated, and you've I mean, I've even picked your brain. I remember in the past, I forget how long it's been, but I picked your brain about a product before myself that I was possibly looking to get into, the beverage space. But I just always appreciate, you being willing to, just, at a drop of a hat, kind of just, have a convo with me and just drop some knowledge, and obviously in areas that I don't know like you do. So, thank you for always, being available for that. And also the mustache, is that new? I'm digging. Am I gonna have to like shave this off and do the Let me see. I don't know. I can't. Like, am I gonna have to? I don't know if I can. What do you think? How's it look?
Yeah, you got it.
I'm trying to. What do you think? You think it would be a good look?
You got it, bro.
You think?
Yeah.
I think you rock it way better than I would, man. I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do it.
I've loved being here. I can talk to you for another 2 or 3 hours about a bunch of different shit. Unfortunately, I got to roll here like in 11 minutes.
Good. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk for 10 more minutes, 59 seconds. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, man. No, I'd love to. Yeah, we should do this again though, like in the near future. You know, obviously, I'm sure, like you said, there's probably a lot that I mean, I don't know all of it, but I know there's a lot that we really didn't even get to touch on. So
for sure,
yeah, I feel like you're a vault of knowledge in this world. So yeah, man, well, I appreciate it, and a
lot of crazy shit too. I didn't even get into a lot of my crazy shit.
Yeah. We'll do part 2 will be craziness. Yeah. we had to warm everybody up to you first. You know, we had to get everybody to at least buy into Josh first. So,
cool.
but real quick before we end, obviously, FeastFast. How can anyone buy the product?
Yeah. FeastFast.co. Hit our TikTok up, FeastFast Snacks. Hit our Instagram, FeastFast Snacks. Same with Facebook, FeastFast Snacks. Yeah, find me, Joshua Sizemore, on any of the platforms. So
awesome. Well, I appreciate you joining, brother, and I'm looking forward. Like I said, I'll check in with you after I get those cookies. I can't wait to try them.
Please do. I'm excited to have you try them.
Josh Sizemore on the Stacks. Thanks for joining me.
If you want to see more On the Stacks content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/onthestackspodcast or search the hashtag On the Stacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.